Hi everyone, I'm Rodney. I'm here with Board Game Geek, and I'm also here with Johnny from Mayday. And you brought a game with you. It doesn't normally come like this,
quite like. It does not. It will come in an actual box.
Oh, smart.
Yes,
okay, that's a good idea. Cool. And this is the Golden Sails.
Yes, it's the Golden Sails. It was originally a Hobby World game that we're going to make available in North America. Basically, it is a set collection game and a drafting game.
Right, with a lot of really nice looking art here.
Yeah, I love the art.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's kind of in the same world as Viceroy.
Yeah, okay.
So, and it's
Viceroy?
the same designer as Viceroy.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about how it plays?
I sure can. Every player starts out with 5 master cards.
And would they be face up like this, or am I holding them in my
Yes, they're
hand?
face up.
Okay.
There's a variant where you can play them face down, but you normally play them face up.
Okay.
And these are, you're trying to collect goods. You're basically on the high seas. You're trying to collect goods. You can only collect so many, otherwise you get caught in customs, right?
I know all about that.
Right. So
Okay.
You've got your 5 expert cards.
Yes.
And each of them are experts at one type of good.
Okay.
So you have your spice expert,
Right.
your weapons expert,
Yep.
your spells expert, your jeweler, and your beastmaster.
Okay.
So,
And the art's very reflective of those.
yes,
Yeah.
we've changed some of the art up.
Yeah.
We've changed her
Yes.
a little bit to make her a little bit more family friendly.
Yeah.
And we're changing the box art. The original box
Okay.
was a little bit darker.
Is this the original here?
This is not. That's the new.
This is the new. Okay.
That's the new.
Gotcha.
The original box art actually just looked like kind of like this. So the way the game works, when the first player will look at the goods that are on the board, and each of them have the potential to be any type of good. So I can look at this and say, well, I really want a beast, so I will take this card and line it up here.
Right.
Each of the goods score differently in the game, which is where I think it kind of shines.
All right.
So the animals, at the beginning of the game, you'll select one of 5 cards. This shows you how to score the animals. So in this one, if you have 1 unicorn at the end, it's going to be 1 point. Or if you have 3 unicorns, it's 12 points, and so on and so forth. So depending on what you're trying to collect there, if you're going to focus on animals, then you're going to be trying to
match up to the different animals that we see around the board. Okay, right.
But each round you might only have the ability to turn 1 animal. But what is really cool is everybody turns a good into what they want it to be first.
Yeah.
And then beginning with the last player, then they get to select which one they're actually going to put into their ship.
Even if it wasn't the one they created?
Even if it wasn't the one they created.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So then when it comes back around to the first player, they're only left with 1 card, right?
Right.
So they do have the ability to say, you know what, I don't want this to be an animal, and I still have a jeweler here, so I'm going to make it a jewel.
Okay.
So it's the one cool, since the first player doesn't really get a lot of choice,
Yep.
they at least can do that.
Okay.
So the spices score like this. They're sets. So if you have 1 spice, it's 2 points, but if you have 4 spices, it's 12, and so on and so forth.
So I suppose as you're going through these different rounds, you might have been going for one thing, maybe animals, but you're suddenly getting left with options on the table. For spices, you might just shift and start grabbing those, right?
Because with these, 2 of the same spice isn't going to do you any good.
Right.
You need to have 1 of each different spice.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can also, there's a potential for a little bit of hate drafting in this one, because you can kind of look at what the other players are doing and saying, well, I don't want him to get that, so I'm going to grab this card.
Okay.
So some players really like that, and other players are not as into it.
And so these will then, you'll get new ones out each
Yes,
time.
each time.
After you've gone around and collected everything, then you reset with new ones?
The weapons basically just give you the ability to steal points from other players at the end of the game. So if I've got this weapon, I can steal 2 points from the player to my right, but 0 points from the player to my left.
This one here? Okay, right.
So you can't have 2 of the same weapon, though. If you have more than 1 of the same weapon, customs is going to hit you, and they're going to take away a weapon.
They usually, if you just have 1 weapon,
Right,
but okay.
right.
This was a more relaxed time.
Yeah,
right?
TSA in in this land, Wardham,
all right.
they aren't going to. They're not as picky.
Okay,
right?
understand. Okay.
So gems are my favorite to score.
Okay, how do those work?
So gems are numbered.
Right.
So, and then this just shows you what comes before and after, because they roll over.
Okay.
So the gems, the score is squared. Basically, if I have 2 gems, then it's going to be 4 points. So the more gems I get, the better it's going to be. The gems, the other players don't remember. They have to just kind of remember what numbers you're collecting. So I can turn, I'll say I decide I want this. This will be a 5. Once I get it, I'm going to play it face down over here in my area. So people have to try to remember, oh, she's trying to get a 6.
Right.
So
to go with, right.
Yeah. So, and let's see, that's the spells basically just affect how many points you can get. So, like the spell here, I would get 4 points for every combination of this spice and this spice.
Okay.
So
you have these like end game
yes.
conditions.
So it's all, and what I think is really cool about this game is the fact that all the different things score differently. So you can focus on just one or two things, or you can kind of vary what you're doing.
Yeah, spread out. Yeah.
So that's Golden Sails.
And this is the first player token, I
This
think?
is now we are, one of our Kickstarter goals is to have a an actual ship, first player token, like a golden ship.
Sure. So, and when is this going to be available?
We're looking at a Kickstarter in late spring, and then summer release for this one.
Okay. Summer
this year.
2019? Okay. Thank you, Johnny, for showing us the Golden Sails. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.